Stretch it out.
Yeah. Of course, I didn't go see Doug Loves Movies last night.
Yeah, boy. Yeah. Like friggin'
That looked like it was really cool.
like a bucket list show for me. I mean, when it comes to podcasts, like that was probably the first one I ever listened to. I mean, it was one of the first ones like around.
Yeah.
And so I listened to it every single week and absolutely loved it. And so all these years later, let me see when it started. Because I didn't listen like the first 2 seasons or whatever, but I think by season 2...
You were listening to every episode.
I was probably listening to every episode. Yeah, I missed a bunch of the beginning, but 2006.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Earliest show I listened to started in... It's still pretty early. August of 2007, I want to say. So, like, still, like, really, really early.
Which one was that?
It's a wrestling podcast that I still listen to.
Nice.
He's still going every fucking week. I'm like, wow. It's been
That's pretty awesome.
Been over 15 years at this point.
Yeah, 2007 is probably when I picked up on Doug Loves Movies. But yeah, just addicted every week, loved the games and stuff. And so yeah, this is like the first time. Well, I haven't really lived anywhere where he would go during the podcast. Erie was like a super long shot. But yeah, living in Jackson all those years and listening, like there was no even place to see any comedy, much less, popular touring comedy.
You mean the stand-up and performing art scene in Jackson, Mississippi? Wasn't that great?
I mean, the best you're going to get, you'll get some big-name comedians because they'll play, like, theaters there,
Yeah, but you're not going to get anybody coming to a comedy club or anything.
Right. Yeah. Should we get going?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Welcome to No Hugging, No Learning.
It's a show about one thing, watching Curb Your Enthusiasm for the first time.
I'm Tim Murphy.
And I'm Ted Hollowell.
And today we will be talking about Season 7, Episode 6, The Bare Midriff. Before that, What's the Deal with Stuff from our last episode? Denise Handicap and Chi Yun was a big part of the episode and the private recital that Larry David's friends were throwing and kind of just wanted to know what the deal with her appearance on the show was. Kim Chi-yun is a 53-year-old now, violinist from Seoul, South Korea. She performed in Korea at the age of 13 is when she started, I guess, which seems late for a virtuosic violin player, for someone. It reminds me of a great Onion headline. It's like, 6-year-old dreams of being in the Olympics despite being years behind training or something like that. Like, yeah, you got to start. You start them young.
You start at the womb. Yeah, you start whenever you're an infant.
She studied at Juilliard, and she won the Young Concert Artist International Auditions in 1989, which led to a New York City recital debut at Carnegie Hall. So that's not bad to start there. Dedicated and enthusiastic educator as well, gives master classes around the world, has held several teaching posts at notable music schools and universities. Her past faculty positions have included serving as the resident starling soloist and adjunct professor of violin at the University of Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music and visiting professor of music in violin at the Indiana University School of Music. And from 2007 to 2017, so during this time, she was artist in residence at Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas. And I think, from what I can tell of her like touring schedule, because she is still constantly performing, I think she may still be based out of Texas because she's like playing these little shows in like San Antonio or Lubbock. Like she just kind of is able to do a lot in Texas, so it makes me think that's her home base. She owns a Francesco Ruggieri violin that was made in the year 1669.
Jesus Christ. Also, nice.
Yeah. Really nice. Oh, of course. Just pay no attention to the 16 in front of it. That's not the nice part. That's not what Ted was talking about. Just the 69.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Didn't mean that.
Yeah, but as far as why she might have been a big deal in 2009, I couldn't really find anything. It didn't seem to, like, I mean, this happens sometimes where people will get kind of obsessed, like the general public will get obsessed with some sort of artist or genre outside of the mainstream, and it'll be like, oh my gosh, well, this violin player right now is absolutely the biggest star on the planet. Like it reminds me of when the Benedictine monks, everyone was listening to like monk chants back in the 90s. And and these monks were like all of a sudden the most famous people on the planet. No one really knew why.
Yeah,
It wasn't really mainstream.
And also, like, sea shanties had a moment like 2 years ago.
Another great example. Yeah, sea shanties. Yeah, it's like, no, we're all listening to sea shanties right now. It's like, oh.
No, you're not. No one is. No one in their right mind is.
But yeah, that's another great example. So I was hoping to look up like, oh my gosh, Shi Yun in 2009. It did not get bigger. She was selling out Madison Square Garden and stuff. But I couldn't really find any reason why she was chosen to be on Curb. I guess maybe Larry David was just a fan. Even she shared a Throwback Thursday post back in 2015. She said, here's a Throwback Thursday moment. I felt so honored and thrilled to be asked to make a cameo appearance on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Wow,
in the Denise
cool.
Handicap episode. Here's some stills from the scene. So she just picked some random screen grabs of her on the show. And like, yeah, I don't know. They just wanted to have her on the show for some reason. I couldn't find any reason why. But now we know a little bit more. And I did listen, by the way, too. I was like, well, let me pull up what, her 2009 release. I mean, maybe that was absolutely huge. I couldn't even find, like, in her wiki, you got to figure like, oh, in 2009 she had the #1 Billboard classical
Not
album.
even that?
No chart performance or anything.
Wow. All right.
Right after our episode, I went and listened to her 2009 release that came out, I think, in January of that year, which was Symphonie Espagnole and Saint-Saëns Violin Concerto No. 3 by Lalo, maybe? I don't know. That's the conductor. I don't know who. This might be Beethoven. I don't know who did. Maybe it's a completely new. Yeah, written by Lalo. So,
right.
Yeah, that's who the composer was of that. But yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. But I don't know why. I don't know why she was on the show. What about Amy Pietz? She played not Denise Handicap. She played. Was it Wendy Wheelchair? Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Wendy Wheelchair.
Holy
I like the alliteration in that. That's what made me think I was wrong. But it's so funny. Wendy Wheelchair. She did not play, as I was mistaken. She did not. They look very similar. I will stand by that. She did not play Kathy, the woman that wanted to cheat with Jim on Pam, or make Jim cheat on Pam with her. She played Donna Newton, the manager on The Office. She played Donna Newton, the manager of Sid and Dexter, a bar office employees visit in Happy Hour, and she begins an extramarital affair. So cheating is involved with Michael Scott. She starts cheating on her husband with Michael Scott. Yeah. So that's where I recognized her from. She also played Liza in Jingle All the Way, which you can listen to right now on our Patreon. Do a little Christmas in July action. Why not? It's a great episode. We got the downvoter on there, right?
Yeah, he was on that one with us.
I don't remember who Liza is, but you can find Amy Pietz in there.
I was going to say, I have no recollection of who Liza is.
Yeah, I mean, neither. I meant to look this up last week as we were talking about it, but after Amy Pietz made an appearance, I was, you could probably ascribe this to the other person in the wheelchair, but neither Anita Barone, who played Denise, nor Amy Pietz are actually wheelchair bound. They're not actually wheelchair users. So in case you were wondering, they're pulling an Artie from Glee. Was that his name? I think it was.
You're asking the wrong person.
The wheelchair guy. Anyway, I remember being very shocked, and I remember like when Glee became huge, the guy that played Artie. I'm just going to say that's his name, the guy in the wheelchair. The guy that played Artie, he had use of his legs, and fans would like keel over in religious exuberance when they saw him walking around. Like, oh my God, you can walk! Like, yeah, that happened before I got on Glee. I've been walking since before I got on Glee, and I continue to walk during. They were just like, it's like when you find out that a character with an American accent is actually British. Like, that will fuck my mind up for hours. I'm like, what?
Like every time I see an interview with Margot Robbie.
Yes, yeah, that's a great one. Or Hugh Laurie. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. House is British. I keep forgetting. Even Colin Farrell's been doing a lot of Irish work, where he can use his regular accent, but he does a great American accent. And I remember when he first, hit the scene, it was like such a big deal that his first few movies he was playing an American, and then you'd see him on the Tonight Show be like, "Hey, that's about it, hey." Like, what? You have this thick Irish brogue no one can understand. So John Ross Bowie, and that's all the homework we had, but here's some trivia.
Is it Bowie? Because I've always heard it pronounced as John Ross Bowie.
Bowie, interesting. Because I would look at that and go, you know what, I think it's probably Bowie, because that's the way you spell Bowie knife. And the reason that David Bowie went with, or is it Bowie knife? Now I don't know. I think
it's Bowie knife.
Okay, so it's Bowie knife.
Yeah. His Instagram bio, John Ross Bowie. My last name rhymes with Maui.
Oh, awesome. Well, why, if you had such a cool name like Bowie, would you say, no, I don't want to sound like the coolest rock star of all time. I don't want to get mixed up with him.
Yeah, I don't want to get mixed up with him. I want to be my own person. Why?
I don't want to be associated. I don't want people to picture some fucking cool guy. I just got into I dipped into my Colin Farrell. So John Ross Bowie and Jamie Denbo, who did not take his last name smartly, they're married in real life. That's why I say that. They play a married couple in Curb, John and Jamie Fowler, and they've been married in real life since 2004. And they were both got their start in the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater. And I do want to point out that John Ross Bowie played a waiter in Road Trip, now available on Patreon.
Oh my God.
And he was also in Sex Drive, one day to be on Patreon.
One day.
And also he did 25 episodes of Big Bang Theory, which I think is kind of where I've probably seen him in like promos for that or something, because he looks...
Oh yeah, I think he Doesn't he own like the comic store or something?
That sounds right. Yeah. I think that's right from when I looked him up. I was like, oh yeah, he kind of look. I don't know if it's that he looks familiar or he kind of looks like another guy. It looks like he could be the brother of Simon Helberg. I think he and Simon Helberg kind of look similar.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that's why I think I've seen him on the TV. On the TV.
Stop it! Oh my God.
Yeah, so that is all of our homework and trivia and tidbits and stuff.
All right. Do we have any like news or anything?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I saw anything.
Okay, I got some stuff to bring up from Patreon comments. I want to get to these really quick before we shout out our patrons. Tamara Ortiz commented on our exclusive bullshit movie review of The Wizard, saying, "This episode unlocked a memory for me. I watched Under the Rainbow at the theater as a child." Tim, do you know what Under the Rainbow is?
I do not.
Okay, I don't either. I was hoping you did.
A 1981 film. Oh, I wonder if Nazis, federal agents, aristocrats, and 150 little people descend on Hollywood for the filming of The Wizard of Oz. So it's like a making of... It's like a making... Is it a documentary? No.
My God. What?
I was like, wait a minute, that'd be weird. Nazis, federal agents, and aristocrats, and it's a documentary. But the reason I ask is because Chevy Chase is in it, and he's billed as Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase plays Chevy Chase in the movie. I'm like,
shit.
What?
Well, I mean, if
Chevy Chase wasn't alive in 1939.
If they're descending on Hollywood, it could just be like they see him on the back lot or something.
But The Wizard of Oz is from like the 30s. And Chevy Chase, I don't think is that old. I mean,
I'm not saying like in favor of it being a documentary, because I mean, The Wizard took place on the Universal backlot. I'm surprised there wasn't like just an active star from 1989 in it playing themselves.
Oh, right. But I'm looking at Under the Rainbow.
Yeah, I know. I'm talking about Under the Rainbow.
Okay. Carrie Fisher is in it. Billy Barty, who was, I believe, in The Wizard of Oz. But what does this have to do with The Wizard? Is it because did she think we watched The Wizard of Oz?
I don't think it's that she thought we watched The Wizard of Oz. I think it's just that this just unlocked the memory of Under the Rainbow, because I mean, obviously, just the name The Wizard correlates to The Wizard of Oz, correlates to Under the Rainbow. Is just the weird thought patterns that we all have, I'm pretty sure.
Got it.
And then we got a comment from Drybones on our episode for the hot towel a couple of weeks ago. Drybones says, "I was on Cameo and saw you can book a personalized video from Todd Stashwick for $85. LOL." Also, you mentioned in the video that JLD only has boys in real life, not like girls in the show. Actually, in season 1, episode The Wire, when Larry goes to Julia's to try to find his notebook and disturbs everyone, I believe she and Brad talk about waking their son, or he wakes up or something. So I guess in show continuity, Brad and Julia have a boy and 2 girls.
I think they got rid of their son.
Yeah, I just replied, I'm like, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, good pull.
Just not continuous one way or the other.
Yeah, good Curb Your Continuity pull. But I mean, in this one, she mentions something. Oh yeah, she nannied for me and the girls. She doesn't mention like my kids. She doesn't say my kids. She doesn't say the girls and my son, our son and daughters. She says she just
girls.
indicates two girls.
Yeah.
So
unless their son was with them or something, they took a vacation, just her, Brad, and their son, and left the two girls.
I think that might be true.
That's it. There's our answer. Yep.
She only nannied the two girls because they were parenting their son. They could have parented all three kids. They didn't want to. By the way, I just looked up on the Wikipedia for Under the Rainbow that Chevy Chase, that was a Google mistake that Chevy Chase was credited as Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase plays Bruce Thorpe in Under the Rainbow.
Okay.
So, mystery
so
solved.
It's not Chevy Chase playing
It's not Chevy Chase playing Chevy Chase, yeah. I'm Chevy Chase Sr.
Oh my God.
That would have been,
kind of like the throwback scene that we get, the flashback scene that we get in this episode. Okay, if you have never listened to us before, we are not a research-heavy show, despite the last 26 minutes being almost exclusively research and bullshit. We like to have our questions pop up naturally in the run of the episode and assign them to ourselves the week following as though we are giving ourselves homework. I've never seen these episodes before. Tim has never seen these episodes before in the last 14 years. If we miss anything, if we egregiously skip over anything, please send us an email or send us a tweet. It's at NoHugging on Twitter or nohuggingnolearningshow@gmail.com. Both those links are down in the description or on the show description page on Apple Podcasts. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and a written review over on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating over on Spotify. It really does help out the show, helps us find additional people who are as weird as us and like talking and listening to people talk about a 30-minute show for over an hour.
Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Shout out to my buddy Tom. I hope you're hearing this 4 years after today, because I just heard from Tom's wife that he made his rising fourth grade daughter, my daughter's friend, watch the first episode of Seinfeld so they can start listening to our podcast.
Oh, no.
That's what I told her. I was like, hey, language.
I don't think it's appropriate for someone that young, but okay.
I told Meg, I was like, because by the time Tom is hearing this, she'll be in. How long have we been doing this?
5 years. We've been doing this for 5 years now. God damn.
She'll be 14 or 15. So, but even then, I would say,
Tim, we missed our 5-year birthday.
Oh,
you realize that? Our first episode came out July 5th, 2018.
That's right. Oh well, I'll catch you at 10.
All right. God.
If we have 5 more years of show left in us, I don't know. But yeah, I told her, I was like, the language, and she was like, oh, she listens to Office Ladies, and I was like, that is like not even comparable. I'm like, because it's not even the language, it's not even like F-bombs or whatever, but like it gets pretty adult. The themes.
We talk about like some, I can't even imagine like some of the things we were talking about in the early episodes too.
I know.
Like, it's not that we've cleaned up or gotten more dirty or anything, but like we don't censor ourselves. I mean, if we're talking about like I think you should leave, or
not even just the show. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, or anything like with Jerry Seinfeld and his love of underage women.
Yeah,
like, we're not like a clean show by nature.
Yeah, where the show would tiptoe around topics like going down on a woman or masturbating.
We go well into it.
Yeah, we don't
detail.
We don't need to tiptoe around it to appease a network censor. So we'll go, oh yeah, so his tongue was he couldn't use it because he was going down on a lane for so long. It's like we don't, so it's not just the F-bombs or whatever. But I'm like, yeah. Office Ladies is like an hour in church compared to, because they don't. I mean, I noticed like early on in Office Ladies, Angela would say like, "Holy shiitake mushrooms" or whatever, and I'm like, oh god, I would cringe inside myself. I'm like, just don't say anything. Just say "Holy crap."
Yeah,
like
it's not better. It's not better.
But
Like,
I've noticed
oh my
layly they've
God.
started saying, I think they've let like bitch fly or maybe even ass, like,
Ooh.
stuff you might hear. Yeah, like stuff you might hear on a network. But we go beyond that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, after a certain time, I think you can get away with shit on cable anyway.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But yeah,
okay.
so Tom, happy 15th birthday to your daughter. And hope she's not too scarred from what she's been hearing.
Okay, if you have, what did I already do? So, okay, yeah, rating and review on Apple Podcasts, rating on Spotify. If you like us a little bit more than that, and maybe you've already left us a rating on one of those platforms, join us over on Patreon. It's patreon.com/nohugging, where for $5 a month, you can get early access to extended versions of our episodes, including Patreon-exclusive bullshit movie reviews. We try and get those out once a month. Sometimes our real life gets in the way of doing those. But most recently, we just talked about, we did a review of The Wizard from 1989 starring Fred Savage. But other episodes that we have done include B-Movie, just the ones that you've name-dropped in this episode, Tim. Christmas Vacation. Wait, you didn't name drop Christmas Vacation.
No,
what one did you name drop?
That's a great one. Jingle All the Way.
Jingle All the Way. That's what it was. It was another
And
Christmas movie.
Road Trip.
And Road Trip. That's right. But yeah, those are all over on patreon.com/nohugging. Like I said, $5 a month gets you those. Or even for $1 a month, you can just get a thank you. I will give you a thank you here, and it's time for those. So thank you to H.E. Pennypacker, Michael Klatsky, Drybones, Nate Collins, Tamara Ortiz, the guys and gals over at the Idiotville podcast, John Murphy, Danica Ligorio, J-Dog Conlord, Nick Kudla, Adam Webb, and Megan Stolarski. Thank you guys so much. Again, patreon.com/nohugging. Also, I'll give a shout out to this. We're over on YouTube as well. If you would like to watch these episodes, there's no video component. We don't have our cameras plugged in. I've got one. I think Tim's got one. But we don't have a video editor, and I don't have the time to put the video together. But if you would like to listen to these episodes, but on your TV, you can do that. It's youtube.com/nohugging, I think.
Yes, that's
Maybe?
right. Yeah, and there's like a cool there is like a cool spectrum analyzer, so you can kind of see our voices move that line around on the screen. So there is a small video element. You just want to stare at that. You know what I mean?
There's a small video element, but yeah, it's youtube.com/nohugging, and I wanted to give a shout out to that because I thought this was super cool. Tim, I don't know if you noticed this. Our views continually have really increased since we started doing this, at least on the YouTube anyway. So looking at the TiVo guy, so going back to season 6, episode 7, we had 9 views on that video. The next episode, we had 14 for the N-word. Next episode, we had 45 for the therapists. Next episode, we had 50 for the bar mitzvah. Next episode, 81 for Funkhauser's crazy sister. Next episode, 200 for vehicular fellatio. So
Wow,
it was
well,
really
I think
so I was expecting, okay, we're gonna start taking off even more, right?
Yeah.
Next episode, the most recently published for the reunion, we have 3.
For the Seinfeld reunion?
For the Seinfeld reunion. And Tim, I know for a fact that 2 of those are me. Because I was checking to see, surely it can't be that low, right?
What did we do? I thought Vehicular Fellatio was a good episode. What did we do wrong?
I don't know. It's all the same. It's all the same data. It's all the same process. I don't know,
My
man.
guess is that's just people Googling fellatio on YouTube and hoping to see some rare YouTube nudity. That's my guess. Genuinely, unironically, I think that's what happened. And they're like, whoa, vehicular fellatio. Hello. And they put up a fake splash screen so that YouTube doesn't take down what a dirty video this is. And then they watch 30 seconds of it and they're like, I don't think I'm going to see any blowing in this episode.
Oh my God. I could probably look. Let me see if I can look at the stats
the search terms
No, I was going to look at how long people are watching for. Where do I find that at?
Yeah, I don't know what a view. I don't know when they measure a view.
Average view duration 27 seconds. So yeah, you are totally right. People fucking. Okay. How viewers found this video? 96% YouTube recommendations. 83% of that was YouTube Home. 13.5% was Up Next. So yeah, people's algorithms, because they keep searching for fellatio, this video was recommended to them. That's 83% of our views on this video. If you're searching YouTube for fellatio, what is going on in your life? Please let us know.
You're probably at work and all the good websites are blocked, so you're just taking whatever you can get. And we can watch a little porn at work. We can
watch a little porn at work.
We can.
I'm not in any trouble at all. Okay, yeah. Again, youtube.com/nohugging, patreon.com/nohugging. All that being said, Season 7, Episode 6, The Bare Midriff. Original air date, October 25th, 2009. If you're looking at TV Guide that night, you were going to see Larry and Jerry Seinfeld consider incorporating Larry's latest real-life experience into the reunion show. That's an awful description. What the hell?
Oh my god.
Does that happen at all?
I mean, are they referring to
the TiVo?
I think so. Yeah, I think
that comes up once.
They're just talking. I mean, I think they're talking about just Cheryl, but it's really no.
That's bad.
No.
That's very, very bad.
Yeah. It's almost like, we need to be talking about something in this scene, so let's talk about we're obviously talking about the reunion show, so it's like secondary. It's wallpaper. It's not even central to the plot.
That's like one of the things we pop in on a scene and they're already talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, it does come into play a little bit with the casting of Cheryl being an issue in this episode, but it's again like
a couple of episodes ago, like for the reunion, we pop in and we're outside the building and we hear Jerry telling Larry, "You told the president of NBC to go fuck himself." That would be like the description saying Larry tells the president of NBC to go fuck himself. That's how much of a major component that is to that episode.
Yeah, I think we're going to be able to make it better. I'm almost guaranteeing it, but we'll see. I know we'll get rid of it. Whether it'll be better, that's up for debate. We do open in Jerry's office, and Larry is coming out of the bathroom, and Jerry remarks on what a horse-like stream Larry has now, and he's taking a new pill, and I'm hoping this is one of the side effects, and he's not taking a pill that just to have a stronger piss stream. I think it must be for something else, and that's a side effect, because he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm taking this new pill, and the stream is very strong." Like, that's not the purpose of it,
yeah.
right?
And also, it seems like it's very Larry to, no matter how strong your piss stream is, I'm not gonna sit down to pee.
Yeah, wait a minute. He always sits down. What the fuck?
Wait.
Curb your continuity big time here.
That's right.
Yeah, he always sits.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, he totally could have solved his problem by doing what he said he always did just a couple seasons ago. Nice catch. But so they talk about that for a second, and Jerry lets Larry know that Meg Ryan is out. Her schedule is just too busy. She can't do the reunion show. He suggests Lisa Kudrow. That might be good. She's very funny. I think if there was a real Seinfeld reunion show, casting one of the Friends cast members would have been funny.
That'd be really
would
funny.
have been funny. Yeah. Maybe her and Larry suggests that we want someone who's going to be real. Like Cheryl, this really happened to me. So, and it really happened to Cheryl that, with the TiVo guy in the plane, they're going to write that into, they're talking about, as we learned from the synopsis, they're talking about integrating Larry's real life experience into the show. And because Cheryl lived it, Larry says she would be a great choice.
I like Jerry's counterpoint. And he's like, so what if it actually happened to her? It's TV.
Yeah, he's like, what does real have anything to do with what we do?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's open to it. And he's like, well, she can read for it. Whatever. Like, that's fine. Then their assistant comes in, and we see the titular Bare Midriff.
Yeah. Whose assistant is this? Is it Jerry's assistant? Because this isn't Larry's assistant.
I think it's both of their assistants, because they seem to be working out of a studio.
A new studio office.
Yeah, an office on the studio lot.
So what happened to Larry's office and Larry's assistant?
She's still assisting in that office when he needs his solo office. And Jerry's assistant is still at his solo office. This is their joint studio assistant office. a studio assistant. So a new. Did you recognize her, by the way?
She was. I think she's Jillian in Workaholics.
Yes, yeah. In fact,
I forget her name. Is it
her
Jillian
name,
Bell?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, and I knew I recognized her. And I waited till the credits, and I was like, when I saw her name, I was like, I recognize her. I recognize that name. I wonder where else I recognize her from. So we'll have to write that down and do a little bit of homework. But yeah, she's like their boss in work. I've never watched it, but she's like their boss kind of in Workaholics. Is that right? Something like that?
She's, funnily enough, she's the assistant to the boss.
Oh, okay. I just know anytime I've seen any clips or whatever, she seems to be like yelling at them. Does she do that a lot? Like she's the one who disciplines them?
No, not really.
No? Okay.
No, the boss is the one who disciplines them.
Okay.
But she's the kind of like, I don't want to say dopey, but she's kind of like oh God, I haven't seen it in so many years.
Yeah.
No, she just never like stands up for herself, but she's also kind of dumb.
I see. That's one I'd love to go back and watch because I love. She's the Smithers. I gotcha. I love all those guys, and I think in their post Workaholics careers, I think they've it's been hilarious. But so I've always wanted to go back and watch that show. Did you notice all the ideas on Larry and Jerry's whiteboards?
I tried making some out, but I couldn't really see anything.
I wrote so there's a whiteboard behind Jerry, and this seems to be like all of the ideas for the show. So here's the first one: is disturbance in kitchen. I don't remember. Do you remember that from Larry's life? I don't remember.
No.
Disturbance in kitchen.
Maybe
it's the smoke detector.
Maybe I was gonna say the penis cake.
Yeah, right. Which was the same episode, but okay. After disturbance in kitchen, chairlift. They're thinking about integrating the chairlift. TiVo guy, cut doll's hair, refurbished skeleton. What does that mean?
What the fuck?
I know.
How many reunion episodes are they doing?
I know. I mean, I guess these are just all the ideas. We're not going to use them all. It's just there's no bad. It was just brainstorming at this point. Bathroom. Wait, what does that say? Oh, bathroom monitor. So the Cha-Cha episode where she would always keep an eye on what Larry was doing in the bathroom. And then just the doll, which I don't know how that's different from cut doll's hair, the doll. And then here's an interesting one. Rage killing? Question mark at the end?
What?
Yeah, maybe Larry rage killed someone and we haven't seen that episode yet. Rage killing? And here's another.
That's kind of this episode.
Yeah, that's true. They just preemptively knew. Oh, yeah, so maybe they had just. Well, no, they hadn't experienced that yet. They hadn't driven together yet, so that's weird.
Maybe that's just a fun Easter egg.
Yeah, I guess so. That's probably it. You probably weren't meant to see that or take notice of it. Here's another story idea. Kramer / hooker in Diamond Lane. So Larry hiring the prostitute to go to the ball game. And then they just have Newman ? So I like that. Like, can we have anything? Does he do? And then George and Amanda ? So what are they going to do? I'm thinking that George's ex-wife's name is Amanda because you see her name on the board a lot. Because there's also a board next to Larry, and that one has like kind of maybe like a story outline being made up at this point, because it says flashback, George's apartment, George with TiVo guy, phone rings, intercut with Amanda on plane in storm. So they're already kind of showing why George and Amanda broke up. There's a story idea that says Kramer gets tickets to Yankees from Newman. What
Sure.
Yeah,
sure,
okay.
man.
And then coffee shop, George hides from Amanda. And then something says something, then throw party. And then they're discussing where the end scene should take place, the coffee shop or Jerry's apartment. Big decisions to be made. But so the assistant comes in with the bare midriff, by the way. And she even climbs on a chair to like fix the sound that the air conditioning is making. And so her bare midriff is like right at eye level for Jerry and Larry. And they're both kind of, Larry looks on like quizzically almost, but also as if he's getting queasy as well. And when the assistant leaves, an argument ensues, a whispered argument, which I like. They're kind of like, you got to tell her over who's going to tell the assistant that, the bare midriff, we can't do it anymore in the office. We don't want to see it. And Larry says this is an occasion for someone who is smart and eloquent. But Jerry says, this is what you do well. This needs some charm. This needs the Larry David panache of telling someone they are breaking a social. And I kind of saw Jerry's point, because he is kind of known for being like cold and methodical.
Yeah.
So he would have been matter of fact about it. But Larry, as blunt and as inappropriate as he can be, he does try to tiptoe around things as socially comfortable as to make it as possible. You know, he wouldn't just come out and say, I don't want to see your fat belly. Like, you know, someone like a sociopath like Jerry Seinfeld might.
Yeah, Jerry
we talked about
would've.
that. Yeah, we've talked about that before, how Jerry can just be kind of a sociopath. But Larry at least considers other people's feelings, even if he's bringing something up that you're not supposed to bring up to people. He will still try to consider their feelings. So Larry doesn't want to, but he does lose an odd-even face-off with Jerry. So he goes out and tells her about, you know, the bare midriff. Can we do something about it? And she's offended, of course, even though I think Larry's right. I mean,
it's not workplace, quote unquote, workplace appropriate attire, but she's angry at something that Larry is not saying.
Yes, that is true too. She's saying that, you know, oh, you wouldn't say this to a man. You're doing this because I'm a woman. And she's like, you know what, I've lost a lot of weight and I want to flaunt what I've got and stuff like that, which is also not a good reason to. Like, when I was watching this, like, my office has a dress code. I think probably most offices have a dress code, I would say.
Yeah. Even my office, like, you know, working in radio.
Yeah.
I mean, the dress code is pretty chill, pretty relaxed. Yeah. I mean, no one outside of like sales is wearing like business casual. I mean, we're all wearing like t-shirts and jeans. My boss wears a button down and shorts. I wear a t-shirt and shorts all the time. The dress code is essentially look like you could confidently go out in the world and like meet somebody. Like, yes. because people before me would show up wearing pajamas and joggers. And like, I've worn my joggers like a few times. And I think that is like tiptoeing up to the line and like looking down off the cliff of that being the line, but you're still like on the cliff. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
But like Cookie Monster pajama pants are way down in the bottom of that chasm.
You're not ready to meet a client after the show.
No. I could meet a client in joggers and say, "Oh, hey, sorry, yeah, it's laundry day.
Sorry, I was jogging."
Yeah, that's why I was jogging.
But even athleisure
I'm wearing
is acceptable.
My joggers. Yeah.
Athleisure is like acceptable in public these days, so you could make that argument too. But I'm sure that your office dress code too. It's one of those things that's like not really enforced unless it needs to be. You know, it's like, all right, this is a problem now, because I know our office dress code says something like, you know, no flip-flops. I think that's totally an acceptable thing for like a working office to not accept, like no flip-flops, nothing too, it does say this, like low cut, nothing too low cut. And I feel like that's very similar to what would be like, no bare midriffs. Come on. Like, no, you know, I can wear jeans. I can't wear a t-shirt.
I will, however, wear my Crocs.
Yeah.
And I think Crocs are totally different than flip-flops.
Yep. The foot is covered. Yes. Very much of it is covered. Yeah. So I think that's probably the issue with feet a lot of times.
Get your toes out of my face.
But I think, you know, they could have just taken no responsibility and gone, hey, the studio office dress code, we just found it in the employee handbook that you signed, and it does say no bare midriffs. So, because she's not coming up with any good reason for wanting to show off her stomach. You know, it's like,
no, she's not.
She's like, oh, I just want to flaunt what I've got. Not an acceptable.
Not at work.
reason.
I like Larry's like, you can flaunt it the other 2/3 of the day.
Yes.
We're not keeping you from doing that.
Yeah. That's such a good point. You need a break from the flaunting. And it's funny because he keeps doing this hand squeezing tummy fat motion. He's like this, like he's grabbing a big chunk of fat, and she's like, why do you keep doing that? And he goes, do I? I love that. She's like, yes. What is this? What is this? And by the way, I think Larry would say that to a man because it'd be more disgusting. To go back to his hot towel thing and the legs, because the guy who's wearing shorts on the plane, which by the way, Matt Bronger did. He mentioned that he was like, normally I do pants, but I did wear shorts on the plane. It was funny that it came up. The guy said, you wouldn't say this to a woman who's wearing a short skirt. He was like, if they were hairy, I would. So it'd be even more disgusting if it was a dude. So I think he would be more apt to say it to a dude because, although I did just see like something in the New York Times or something about how dudes are showing their midriffs this summer. Did you hear about that? Did you see this at all? Yeah. It's like, it's the summer where dudes show their midriff. And I'm like,
all right.
Even me? Like, or do you have to have a six pack like the guys that you got pictures of walking around Brooklyn? Just let me know before I start looking like an idiot. She quits, though, to Larry's delight. The problem was solved. Like, they wanted to fire her anyway, but they couldn't because it was Julia's friend, and she quits. And so Larry's like, I did it. And even driving right after this scene, they're laughing about that being the reason Jerry wanted Larry to do it. All the bullshit about charm was just bullshit because he knew that when he sent Larry in there, she'd be walking out in a huff in 2 minutes or something like that. And which, by the way, I love the genuine conversation and laughter that Larry and Jerry have in this season, but this episode especially. It's like so unforced. It really gives you like a glimpse into what their relationship actually is like. I mean, I sense no acting from either of them.
No.
Like they just seem like they're having such a good time with each other. And I love that. It's like so awesome to see. And so while they're talking, some guy cuts Jerry off and Jerry honks. And then the guy like slams on his brakes and gets out of the car and starts like road raging at Larry and Jerry. And of course they like back off immediately. Like, sorry, I didn't see you. And my bad or whatever, and the guy speeds off. So over at Izzy's Deli, which was at 1433 Wilshire Boulevard in Santa Monica, it closed in May of 2022. I don't know if I think it may have closed since we talked about the last time it was on the show, season 5, the ski lift episode.
No.
Okay. All right. That wasn't May of last year.
That was over a year ago.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I forgot how quickly we run through
We were in
seasons.
season 5 like 3 months ago.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot how quickly we're running through these seasons. I was in like Curb time. I was like, wait, it's been 3 years since season 5, right? 4 years.
We've only been doing Curb itself for a little over a year.
Yeah, that's right.
We may have. I don't even think we were doing Curb yet when it closed.
Yeah, you're probably right. So that's why I kind of looked familiar when I saw that it was closed, because I'm sure I did a little dive in the episode after the ski lift when we talked about it. But that's where he met Ben Heineman, I think, who's the head of the kidney consortium there. So Jerry and Larry are eating there, and Richard Lewis shows up for lunch, but he's late, but he still wants to, sit down and hang out. And then Larry and Jerry argue over who is going to scoot.
Yeah, and one sec here. Richard Lewis arrived so late that not only Larry and Jerry ordered, but they already got their food, and they're pretty well through eating it. So, I don't think the blame is on Jerry or Larry here, because, you're incredibly late to lunch.
Yeah, really. I mean, somebody should have scooted, but also, yeah, I mean, if you're that late that they've had time to order and finish, you showed up way too late. It's not, yeah. But I mean, them having eaten is not even really an issue to Richard. It's he wants to sit down and still order something while they hang out. And I think Larry and Jerry were both fine with that, but neither one will scoot over. Yeah. And they're arguing over. He's like, "Well, you've known him longer. You should sit next to him." He's like, "Exactly. I've known him longer. I'm going to be talking to him more. It's more comfortable to look at him sitting next to you rather than." And the reveal so it's like kind of little one shots of Larry and Jerry, and then the camera pans back and Richard Lewis has disappeared. That reveal just cracked me up when they're like, "Yeah, and you did well. Oh, of course I want to do that. You want to do." And then they pan back and they just realize
I don't know if you were watching this with captions on or off, but as you see Richard Lewis walk by the window, I didn't really hear this, but the caption comes up, "Richard, I'm mad at you now."
I'm mad at you now.
And I was hoping it was just a very quiet, "I'm mad at you now."
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're like, "Hey, you have to be saying something when you're out there because you're mad at them now, but we're not going to hear it." And so he just literally went, "I'm mad at you now," from outside of the window. But that was like a Simpsons joke. A character disappearing and then walking by the window next to them outside is like a Simpsons IRL joke. I'm like, that was so damn... When the camera did a smash cut back and he's a ghost. I'm like, that was so funny. That was such a funny reveal. So over on the studio lot, Larry and Jerry run into Cheryl, who showed up because she wanted to thank Jerry in person for giving her the part. Thank you so much for just giving me this part. And Jerry, isn't blowing up
confused.
Larry's
He's
spot,
a little confused.
But he's very confused and sort of staring at Larry and with like what does she mean by that? Because I told you, remember, that she has to read for it. And so as Jerry heads up to the office, Larry, kind of breaks the news that it's just a formality, but you're going to have to read for it. Okay. It's just, just a thing we have to do. And so you've got the part. Don't worry about it. Up in the office, Julia Louis-Dreyfus is there, and she chews out Jerry, but more specifically Larry, because it's his fault, for even broaching the subject with Maureen that her dress in the office was inappropriate. It was very sexist. Elaine, Julia agrees with Maureen in that fact, you talk about it, the way a woman dresses like that. And Julia got her the job because Maureen's mom was the nanny for Julia's kids, just her daughters, not her son. And she's mentally unstable, and her daughter quitting her job may drive her to suicide. So you have to go over there and apologize. And so that's what Larry does. He's talking to, this was another funny shot. This episode, by the way, was directed by Larry Charles, and I think some of these shots, show you that. He also did another great flashback episode, What's Her Face? Susie arguing with Sherry O'Terry, that nanny. He's talking to Maureen, who is standing, and he is seated once again, talking to the midriff, almost giving the midriff its job back, which is hilarious.
Just the way this was framed was incredible.
Yeah. And that's when Maureen's mom comes home and freaks out, drops the groceries, and is just like breathless at the sight of Larry, who she says is the spitting image of her dead husband, Tom. And he was murdered in 1962 on their wedding day. They were headed to Mexico on their honeymoon. And this is when we get the flashback with an actress playing young Maureen's mom and Larry playing Tom, which was hilarious. And there's a road rage incident where a guy cuts off and he honks, and the guy beats Tom with a tire iron.
Jesus fucking Christ. This was brutal.
I thought so too.
The blood spray on the windshield too?
Yeah, the excessive Sam Raimi level of blood, Evil Dead level of blood gun on the windshield. That was the only funny part of it, though. It was almost not funny because the brutalness of the beating was so unfunny. They didn't do that funny at all. They did it as here's a man getting beat to death with a tire iron in the middle of this comedy show. Yeah. It's I don't know, do it funny. Can you do that funny? Can you do it funnier?
Can you do it in a funny way? Can we give him a wacky mustache as he beats Tom to death?
Yeah, something. I don't know. We didn't need to see it
Can you do a silly walk or something as he's walking over to end Tom's life?
Yeah, we didn't need a not it didn't cut away. We want to see the full beating directed by Quentin Tarantino. We're just gonna. I just want one. Just set the cam up on just steady. It's not going to move at all. It's an unflinching eye of the camera watching this man getting beat by a tire iron. Yeah. And so as we come back to present day out of the flashback, Maureen's mom is all he did was honk. All he did was honk. And Larry's yeah, you can't honk anymore because he just experienced road rage himself. It's still going on just as it was in 62. It might even be worse. He's you can't honk anymore. And also shushing. You can't shush any people. Did you notice what he said here? He said, no honking, no shushing.
Oh, my God.
I know. I was wait, should we change the name of our podcast for Curb now? No honking, no shushing?
I'll change the artwork for just this episode.
I kind of want to change our Twitter handle for a little bit too. I think that'd be funny. No honking, no shushing.
Don't change the handle. Just change the name. Because we'll never get that handle back.
Not the handle, the actual
honking,
the
no
display
shushing.
name. But even the display name might get stuck if who knows what happens. Yeah, it's well, great. Now we pick the 1 week where Elon goes crazy again, and we're no honking, no shushing forever. No honking, no shushing. And she shows Larry a pic of Tom, and Larry disagrees. He doesn't think he looks anything like this guy. And he's like, not all bald people look alike. He's bald and he's got glasses. That doesn't mean we look the same. And I love, this was a great topic for the show, because when I saw Tom, I was like, oh yeah, he does look like Larry. And then when Larry said that, I was like, wait, did I just stereotype bald people? Because I thought he looked like, I thought they were pretty much identical, but that is funny. It's just bald with glasses. And not all bald people look alike. In the bathroom, Larry has to use the bathroom, and once again, he will not sit down, and his piss stream is splashing all over the place in the bathroom, and the piss is flying, including a teardrop-like spot on Jesus's face, and Larry does not wipe it off for some reason. Why?
I don't know why he wouldn't wipe it off.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I mean, he should honestly sanitize the whole place, because it's all over their sink and their shower and their toothbrushes and their towels and whatever else is in that. So there's piss. It's a piss-covered room at this point. But, I mean, at least that you could have cleaned. I don't know why he decided not to. But driving later, he gets a call from Richard Lewis. This cracked me up. He's like, hey, it's me, the Invisible Jew.
Jesus Christ.
But such a funny reference to being ignored by Larry and Jerry earlier, arguing over who was going to let their friend sit down at the booth right next to them, which should be a small honor that you have friends to sit next to. Yeah, the Invisible Jew. And he yells at him for lunch. He was like, you know what? I even bought you a gift. I bought you a Joe DiMaggio bat at this collector's show that I went to. Larry's like, oh my gosh, thank you. And then the call drops, and Larry doesn't call back. Even though, as we cut to Richard Lewis, you can see that he's kind of waiting for the phone to ring. Yeah. Did you notice something they did that was very early 2000s before? It's like kind of a holdover that TV writers were like, well, we need to indicate that the call dropped. But when a cell call drops, there's no notification. It's just you've been talking to yourself for like 10 seconds. You don't realize it.
Yeah, there's no boop, boop, boop.
Yeah, but
or anything.
You hear when the call gets dropped, you hear the typical boop, boop, boop. I'm sorry. The call has been disconnected or whatever. I'm like, yeah, that did not. Even Richard, I don't think would have heard that. But it's on Larry when that plays. And I'm like, that did not come through your cell phone when a call got dropped. So back over at Marine's, Marine drags her mom into the bathroom because she discovers the tear on Jesus's face, and mom and daughter both fall to their knees in rejoicing and prayer. Yeah. So over at the studio, I liked this topic because it still, to this day, comes up. When a call drops, do you have to call back for an official goodbye?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Larry says there's one obligation, and that's your wife. Like, I've been on the phone with Sarah. Like, she'll call me when she's driving a lot or whatever. The call drops, and then she'll text, like, don't need to call back or something like that. I'm like, great. Perfect. Because I could tell the conversation was winding down, but I agree with Jerry. The wife is a different obligation. And he's like, but a normal guy? What guy? This was funny, too. He's like, it was Lewis. He's like, oh, well, that's different. Because Lewis's feelings, they both know, are different than any other guy's. But he's like, was there a so or an all right? And Larry goes, yeah, there was an all right. And Larry goes, what is it? Or Jerry says, was it this tone? Like the, all right. He's like, yes. Yeah. He's like, well, that's half a goodbye right there. So no, you don't need to call back in that case. Larry was fine just letting the call drop and that. But it still comes up to this day. You're like, I mean, we were done with the call, right? Do I have to call back? But I agree that for the most part, no. But there are certain people that probably you do still have to. Maureen comes in, and though Larry asked if she could just wear shirts that are about an inch longer, she comes in, it seems like wearing an even shorter shirt.
I think so, yeah.
She went an inch in the other direction, I think. But she tells Jerry and Larry about the miracle that she witnessed, and so she is quitting her job to tour the country in an RV with their Miracle Jesus piss tear poster. They don't know it's a piss tear. They think Jesus is crying. Did you catch? I mean, you must have, because they give each other knowing glances when Jerry goes, oh, you got to trust your gut. That line cracked me. And they both look at Larry's like, come on. And Jerry goes, yeah, come on. Come on. It was funny.
I did see like Jerry's glance at Larry, just like the, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You did this, right? This is you.
I thought it was a joke. I thought Larry was looking at Jerry because trust your gut was about her midriff. I know.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah. I didn't even pick up on that.
I think his joke. So I don't know if the glances at that point were about the tear, but maybe they were. Maybe they weren't about what a hack pun that was. But it was funny too. You got to trust your gut. And Larry agrees to he wants to be rid of her so badly that he agrees to co-sign an RV that they will tour in. And when Maureen leaves, Jerry does say, "You splashed him, didn't you?" And Larry, cops to the fact that it is a piss tear, that he splashed Jesus' face and did not clean it off. Over at Enzo's Pizzeria, which is still at 10940 Weyburn Avenue in the Westwood neighborhood of Los Angeles, where it has been since the year 2000. It was opening by a group of friends, including, this was a weird part, just something weird to note, but the group of friends that opened it included the son of the guy who played Luca Brasi in The Godfather, Lenny Montana.
Okay.
So Lenny Montana Jr. opened this pizzeria in 2000 with some friends.
But before we get into like what Larry does in this scene, I want to say, like, because he's on the phone currently with Maureen, and in the previous scene she says, "Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for agreeing to sign. It just has to be done by tomorrow at 3 p.m."
Yeah.
And then on the phone, Larry's saying, "Okay, that's fine. I'll be there at 3." I'm like, no, that's
too late.
Literally just on the other side of the acceptable window of when you can do this, Larry.
Yeah. It makes me think it was it does. It made me think that it was a misspeak on her part. It was supposed to say, "Hey, we're co-signing tomorrow at 3." Not, it has to be done tomorrow before 3. It's like the appointment's at 3 or whatever. But yeah, it's like, "Okay, I'll be there tomorrow at 3. Like,
maybe
that
it was
leaves
a
us zero,
and no one caught it, but it's just so laughably bad.
That leaves us 0 seconds to sign an hour's worth of paperwork. If you've ever bought a car before, you know it's going to take a long time. So how about earlier in the day? Nope, tomorrow at 3, I'll be there. And Larry is picking up some lunch, and he takes a big chunk of napkins. As we learned from their lunch at Izzy's Deli, Larry uses a ton of napkins when he eats, and so he grabs a big chunk, and the guy turns around. I was hoping this was Lenny Montana Jr., because not only was Lenny Montana an actor, but Lenny Montana Jr. also has a very small acting resume. He was in like one episode of something, but I was hoping it was him, but no, it's just a random Italian actor. Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Yeah. If I was Lenny Montana Jr., I'd demand, I'm like, if you want to film here, I play the owner, because I am. He tells him, "You got 2 napkins in the bag. That's all you get." So why even have napkins out? That's my question. This is Enzo's Pizzerias.
He's like, I put the napkins in the bag. That's all you get. Well, then, sir, take these away, because I will take them.
Don't put the takeout section right near where you can get more napkins if you don't want people to get more napkins. It's an open invitation. So the funny part was the owner goes, "A handicapped kid came in last week. Guess how many napkins he needed? 2. And Larry is like, "I don't get the handicap reference. Why? Do they eat differently than us?" It's almost like he's trying to get the guy to like cancel himself. Like, no, you tell me what you meant by...
Like, no, that's not what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, "I still don't get... Explain it to me. Explain the handicap reference to me." But no, it's, 2 napkins, that's it. And so Larry puts the napkins back, but as soon as the owner turns around, he takes the napkins back and more.
Plus more, yeah.
That was great. I loved that. And again, I feel like Larry is right in this situation. You can't, you're a restaurant. Napkins are just part of the overhead. I'm sorry. People are going to take napkins. So once again, I think Larry is right. This is a Larry is right episode. I don't know if he's wrong in any of it, because I agree with the office dress code, and I agree that take as many napkins as the restaurant puts out. So driving, and Larry is driving and eating a chicken parm sub, which is one of the worst. And this thing is gigantic, and I can't think of a worse food to eat. Only a food that requires knife and fork would be worse to eat than this.
Oh, I can tell you a worse food to eat in your car. I don't. Granted, I was not driving, but I was parked. Tim, I ate a full big breakfast with hotcakes from McDonald's.
Oh my god!
In my car.
But you were parked in a parking lot.
I was parked. I was in a parking lot, but I was still in my car.
Yeah, that would be difficult. I mean, there's syrup going that has the potential to go everywhere, and yeah, I could see being able to eat that. Well, no, probably not. I was like, if you put the big breakfast on if you have like an armrest console, you could kind of use that as a table, or if you have a display on your dashboard that's kind of like on our CRV, it's kind of like indented and there's a little screen back there. But that would be a good place to put the big breakfast. I feel like it would fit right there, and it's tilted back so it wouldn't be affected by the movements of the car, and I could put it there probably and grab a forkful every now and then. I was driving. I don't recommend doing this, everybody, but I bring up knife and fork because one time when my wife and I visited Dallas, actually, and we were leaving town, we went to this restaurant, and it was like, oh, you got to go to this restaurant. But we were like, oh, we really got to get home. It was like, I don't know, 6-hour drive or something. And so we're like, we'll just get it to go. And so I got like buffalo chicken mac to go, and I'm driving, and I'm like trying to like fork noodles and a piece of chicken on my fork while I'm driving on like the massive Dallas Metro Expressway, whatever, like this, 16-lane highway, driving with my knees kind of and eating. So I can tell you it's not ideal. But this is a two-hander sub, too. I mean, forget a fork. He's eating it with both hands. And it's just so messy, and he's using a million napkins, of course, and he's pulled over by a cop who begins questioning him about Enzo's Pizzeria and napkins that might have gone missing. And he searches Larry's bag and discovers the napkin stash and hauls Larry downtown. And, I mean, I know it's a TV show, but still, like, the fact that Enzo would call the police and that LAPD would have the manpower to send an officer after
a
guy
man who stole napkins.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I think he would be laughed off the phone by the 911 operator. I would hope that's what really would happen. But he brings Larry downtown to be in a lineup, and then they bring Enzo downtown to the lineup. It's like, we're wasting so many taxpayer resources doing this. Over 25 cents worth of like those cheap, thin, tri-folded restaurant, like industrial restaurant
like
napkins.
These aren't even like good quality.
No.
You're right.
They're those shitty ones that you need so many of because they fall apart after one wipe of your mouth.
Yeah, your finger pokes through like halfway through it, and all of a sudden you're just like, I don't know, picking stuff out of your teeth inadvertently.
Yeah. Two of those napkins is like half of a real napkin. So I'm totally, again, that's another reason why I'm on Larry's side. But Enzo is trying to pick Larry out of a lineup, and he, picks out 4 and 6, one of whom is Larry, and one of whom is a bald guy with glasses who is black, which was and Enzo is stymied.
He's like, I don't know who it is. All I can see is bald.
That was such a funny all bald people look alike.
God.
I gotta say they did bring that joke home in a pretty satisfactory way to me. The fact that he was like, I just don't know. Like, one of them's white. It was so funny. So 4 and 6, Larry and the other guy are free to go.
You're free to go. Larry's so happy as he's walking out too.
He's happy to be stereotyped and profiled. In this case, it got him.
He's happy to be stereotyped and profiled as long as it doesn't lead to him being imprisoned.
Yeah. I would have loved if he had picked Larry and this goes to trial, and he's on trial for stealing 50 cents worth of napkins in Los Angeles. It's just, what was the end game here, Enzo? Tell me what your Enzo game was. Over back at Maureen. Oh, Maureen. So Maureen's mom picks Larry up from the police station, very upset that he missed the signing of the RV papers. And Larry is driving the sweet classic car, the same one from the flashback, the same one from their honeymoon night. She kept it all these years, ever since 62. And Larry gets passed by Richard Lewis, who he notices. He goes, oh, hey! And he honks at him and tells Richard Lewis to pull over. And the mom starts having like PTSD flashbacks of what happened on her honeymoon. Just freaking her out. And Richard Lewis is upset with Larry. So Larry gets out and begins talking to an upset man that the mom has no idea Larry David knows. And Richard Lewis's line, he's got so many, like, first of all, him disappearing, the invisible Jew, and then he goes to Larry, what are you, banging a Mormon beautician?
Jesus Christ.
A Mormon beautician. Oh my God. Oh my God. So fucking specific and hilarious. I thought that was such a roast. Like, she couldn't even hear. But like, what are you, banging some kind of Mormon beautician? And he's upset that he got no official goodbye from Larry. You should have called back and had the official goodbye. He's like, the conversation had winded down. Why do I need to call back? And it's at this point the mom turns up the radio. But damn it, Ted, wouldn't you know it? The radio is playing the exact same song from that fateful day in 62. What horrible luck. Don't say nothing bad about my baby. And Richard Lewis is like, all right, fine. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm still pissed off at you, but I'm going to still give you your gift. And he goes to his trunk.
Grabs it from the trunk.
And pulls out. This was such a funny escalation of, just watching the scene play out again, because he grabs a baseball bat from his trunk, and the wife is like, this is not happening again, not on my watch. And she jumps over to the driver's seat. And I noticed that I guess this is why they needed a classic car, because they needed bench seating.
Yeah.
You couldn't do this in like my Honda.
You need to be able to just slide over.
Yeah, she just slid over and guns the engine, hitting Richard Lewis. Now, you got to imagine Richard Lewis is pinned between two cars at this point.
That's what I'm thinking, right?
You're not using your legs again in this accident.
At very best, if not completely severed from the bottom part of you.
Yeah.
And your intestines are falling out.
Yes. Yeah, forget not using your legs, like, may not even have them. Like, it's a crapshoot when you get into that's why, man, I hate standing between two cars. I fucking hate it. It's like, it's one of those things where I'm like, this is not the place to be. My body knows it's in danger if I'm between two bumpers. It's one of the most terrifying things that can happen in life, is to end up between two cars like this, because you like hear the bat hit the ground or something. Like, maybe at the last second, Richard Lewis, the 60-something-year-old man, jumped on the hood of the car or something like that. I don't know, but he gets hit by the car. So on the studio lot, Larry is telling Jerry that Richard Lewis is totally unscathed. He's completely fine. He's going to stay the night in the hospital. But what?
How?
Please
what kind of Superman is Richard Lewis?
Yeah, who can get pinned between two cars and walk away.
This man was in a coma because he needed this man needed a kidney and was slowly dying for an entire season.
Yes, we saw him like limping. Yeah.
Yes. Yet he's able to leap out of harm's way at the absolute last split second.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable. And Larry visited him, but he was sleeping, because he's going to stay the night in the hospital, but he was sleeping. So Larry checks with Jerry. He's like, that counts as a visit, right? And Jerry goes, well, you were there, right? I thought that was obviously, it's not going to count in Richard Lewis's mind if this ever comes up again. But I just thought that was another funny, like, I visited, but he was asleep, so that's not my fault. I did my due diligence. Jerry's leaving for the night, but Larry has to go to the bathroom and is going to go back in, but he is locked out. So he goes and finds a place to pee as Maureen and her mom show up, and they follow the sound of pee. They're like, what is that? Let's go find out what it is. It's such a loud pee that they can hear it from the parking lot on the other side of the building. And that's when they
the lot is alive with the sound of pee.
With the sound of pissing. That's when they come upon Larry, and Maureen takes some piss right in the eye, right at eye level. And so they realize at that point that is what happened to Jesus. And when the mom realizes that they were about to throw their whole life away on a fake miracle, she runs to the top of the building, and
she's gonna jump
she's
off.
Gonna jump. Yeah,
like she was definitely ready to jump off of this 2-story building.
Yeah, I wonder too how
that just would have hurt really bad. That wouldn't have done anything to you.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're gonna have some broken legs,
unless you dive head first.
Right? Maybe that was her plan. We don't know, but yeah, I mean, if you just leapt feet first, I think you'd break your legs, but that might be it. But Larry grabs her and pulls her away and saves her at the last second. But when he does, so Maureen and Larry are up on the roof, and he saves Maureen's mom, but he loses his balance in the process and falls over the edge. But he saves himself by grabbing Maureen's bare midriff, and that's when Frolic plays, and that's the end of the episode.
Oh my God! All right, Tim, what do we got for homework this week?
I just wrote down Jillian Bell. We'll find out a little bit more about, maybe where I recognize her from and what she was doing in 2009.
Okay.
That's it. Yeah.
What do you like for cover art?
The second I saw it, I knew this had to be my first vote. I'm open to anything else, but Larry pissing in the bathroom and Jesus staring at him while the piss is flying everywhere is such a funny shot.
Yeah, I think that's incredible.
The picture is it's placed in a way that like anybody who stands there and pisses, Jesus is like judging you. Yeah, Jesus is staring at you. Like, you're not supposed to be doing this. I'm just going to the bathroom.
Jesus is looking at you going, nice hog. Nice. Thanks, Jesus.
Hey, I'm going to thank my dad for giving you that massive hog.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I think if it's not going to be that, it's got to be just the photo of the Jesus portrait crying. But I love Larry in the bathroom.
Yeah, he's
that's good.
Leaning back to minimize the splashback as much as he can, but it's doing no good. But yeah, it's like he's holding onto a fire hose this episode whenever you see him pissing. It's amazing.
All right, let's see what we can do about this week's description.
Okay.
I mean, do we just want to start from scratch already? Because we had Larry and Jerry Seinfeld consider incorporating Larry's real-life experience into the latest real-life experience into the reunion show.
First of all, it's not his latest real-life experience. His latest real-life experience is dating a handicapped woman and going to a Chi Yun concert, private Chi Yun concert, and whatever happened in the Denise handicap episode. So, yeah, I think we're just going to have to raise it and start from the ground up, just all the way down to the foundation. So we have Larry and Jerry's, assistant is dressing inappropriately at work. I mean, I'm just trying to get the basic plot points that we're going to want to summarize here. So it's Maureen's bare midriff. It's Larry's stream. There's some road rage. And then this is like the E story, Cheryl and the reunion. I mean, so I don't even think we need to mention it because it just moves the season-long story arc along. So it's got to be mostly about the bare midriff. And so Larry and Jerry, I don't know, deal with might be bad, but let's just start there. Larry and Jerry deal with their assistants' inappropriate workplace attire. How can we make that better? I think is that good enough for like the basic starting point?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, do we need anything about Larry and Richard Lewis or I think so? I mean, that's what everything stems from in that storyline, but it's almost not. Well, I mean, you could even say Larry and Jerry want to get rid of their assistant. Bare midriff is part of it. Yeah, I guess the bare midriff is all they don't like about her. It really is very Seinfeldian, where it's like, no, it's not deeper than that. It's that she's got man hands. He's got a woman voice or whatever. It's or all of the minutia that they would dump people for on Seinfeld. That's why they want to dump this. It's just the bare midriff. I forget what they talked about. There was a guy. You remember they fired a guy. They mentioned to Julia like, no, it's just the. Remember we fired a guy because it's not because he's a woman. Remember we fired a guy because he did blank. It's something they didn't like about a guy, just one thing. So I think that's what we can say. It all just is about the bare midriff. Jerry and Larry deal with their assistants' inappropriate workplace attire. I mean, it's a little wordy, but is that all we need from the episode?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's all we need.
Is deal with too generic? No, I don't think so. What do you think?
I mean, we could do like address their assistants' workplace attire, or I don't mind deal with.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with it too. Jerry and Larry deal with their assistants' inappropriate workplace attire.
There, boom,
perfect,
done,
perfect.
All right, Tim, did you like this episode?
Yeah, it was okay. I mean, it might have even been like a below average episode, but I mean, I'd put it, kind of right at that baseline. Right at the vehicular fellatio baseline. It's slightly below that, I think. So
slightly below vehicular fellatio?
Yes, yeah. A bare midriff to me is slightly below vehicular fellatio. Because I enjoyed it and I got some good laughs out of it, but I also felt it was very average.
Gotcha. I like this episode a lot more than you did. I'm giving this a full star.
Heyo.
Yeah, I was laughing consistently through this whole thing, and then I mean, what's become a good indicator for me on episodes that I give a full star, it just makes me stop what I'm doing and just go, oh my god, oh my god.
Was that the tire iron scene?
That was the tire iron scene, but like that and the rat dog.
Oh yeah,
for sure. Was another example of that.
Yeah.
Larry fucking dying.
Oh yeah, almost falling off the building. You mean?
No. I'm talking about like other episodes, like Larry, the season where Larry dies.
Yes,
and then comes back, and I'm just like, oh my god. But no, it's just I like this episode a lot.
Awesome. So what are we starring it? Are we star lowing it?
I'm giving it a full star.
Full star. Wow.
Full star. Yes.
There we go. Nice.
Oh my god. Okay, next week we have got season 7, episode 7, The Black Swan. Original air date November 1st, 2009. And if you're looking at TV Guide that night, you are going to see Larry twice encounters bad luck on the same golf hole.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like the way that's written. That's not even grammatically correct. That's not even
twice encounters. I think it's grammatically correct, but it's a little formal, you know.
Larry twice encounters bad luck on the same golf hole.
Yeah, I guess you could say encounters. He encounters twice. Yeah, encounters bad luck twice on the, and that's more pleasing to the ear. But I think twice encounters is correct. But it's weird. It's weirdly yeah.
If there's one thing we can say that Curb Your Enthusiasm is, it's definitely grammatically correct.
Indeed. Maybe not politically correct, but grammatically correct. So I don't hate it right off the bat. Like, it may not be bad, right? Is that the feeling you're getting?
Yeah, I don't know.
May not be bad.
Maybe. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. A lot of them will go, well, that sucks. We can tell right now. Never even seen the episode. I can tell that sucks. So the fact that this one is maybe good, we'll see if it holds up. All right, is that it?
Yeah, I think that is it.
All right, for No Hugging, No Learning, I'm Tim Murphy.
I'm Ted Hollowell. Be good.
I'll take another one if you want me to. For No Honking, No Shushing, I'm Tim Murphy.
I'm Ted Hollowell. Be good.